Okay, there we go. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
This is Mama Bear
Sarah.
and
Martin. Hi, how's it going?
Sarah and Morgan, but it's Martin and Ducat.
Oh, and Morgan's out there as well.
Welcome, everyone. This is Meet a Member Sunday with the Leaf and deVine Church. We had this wonderful idea. Actually, Sarah brought this idea to me. She said, Mama Bear, she says, what if we start interviewing people in the church and get their stories so that everyone can get to know them and hear their stories? And it's just a great way for us to create community. And we're so excited that Martin agreed to be our very first interviewee. So thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you so much. So I hope you guys enjoy this series. We want to interview a new member every week. So on Saturday, around about 2 or 3 o'clock, whenever we can get together, we're going to go ahead and record these meetings and then post them to IA Denver so you all can get to know your church community. So welcome. So did you have anything to say?
I'm just really excited to do this. I feel like there's so many new people that have come into our beautiful family. And I just want to get to know everybody a little bit more. So if I have that feeling, I'm sure all of you do as well. And Martin,
You already know me.
my brother Martin, I'm so thankful that you're doing this with us. You have found your
I'm
time
honored to
in
do
your
this,
home.
honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just excited. Thank you guys for watching.
Are you nervous?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Good. All right.
A little bit.
So Martin, why don't you tell us to start off how you found the church and what brought you to the medicine?
Well, about 5 years, I started a spiritual journey, and I kind of I'm not going to really get into that too much because I'm sure I'll probably get into it later. But I hadn't done psychedelics in probably 15, 20 years, and I really didn't try them too much out when I was younger. And I ended up trying some out while I was in Alaska, some mushrooms out while I was in Alaska. And I just had the most beautiful time. And I ended up meeting my spirit guide on a journey one time up there. And it just blew me kind of open to seeking out different ways to heal through different plant medicines. So I, searched a little bit, and I found the place in Orlando, but I wanted to find something more local. So I searched on Facebook for ayahuasca churches or anything to do with it, and I found you guys, thankfully.
And we're so grateful you did.
And I saw the signs like, hey, this is the right place, because when you got a hold of me, you had an 815 number. And 815 is the area code where I was actually born and grew up at.
Right on, right on. So Martin, tell us, what was that like finding your spirit guide? How did you know that was your spirit guide, and what was that like exactly?
He showed me past lives. And then he told me if I wanted to get out of the cycle of death and rebirth, that I would have to stop killing and consuming animals. So I pretty much have not eaten meat since then. The first couple weeks was pretty hard because everybody was around me was just cooking meat, and that's all I could smell. But you know what? It's probably one of the best choices I've made. I mean, if you look at it, and this is a vibrational universe, when you eat something that's been killed, you're taking on that vibration. So
Absolutely.
It totally makes sense why there would be like you would be entering into a contract of death and rebirth if you're out there killing things as well, or consuming things that have been killed, because you're taking on that energy. So you're taking on that energy of death. So, I mean, that's just how I feel. I don't look badly on anyone that eats meat. I don't really care what anybody else does, as long as it doesn't have to do with affecting me.
Mhm.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, Martin, take us back to your childhood, your parents. What was that like growing up, little Martin?
Well, my mom would call me, would say baby Marmar.
Baby
My-
Marmar.
That's cute.
But
I love that, baby Marmar. Okay, you know it's
That's
gonna
your new
stick.
name now.
You know it's
oh no,
gonna
no,
stick,
don't
right?
don't make that stick. Don't make it stick. But so I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. My dad was an elder in the congregation, so like elders' children were pretty much there was more expected from us. At the age of 5, I was being groomed to give speeches in front of hundreds of people, and honestly, it is kind of like held me back a little bit, because it didn't resonate with my soul, and it really kind of put a little bit of fear in me, a fear of like public speaking, of speaking in front of people, of doing stuff like this, so I get a little nervous, and I might be a little shy sometimes. So I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and it was a little rough. From the ages of like 4 to 6, I dealt with some sexual abuse from an older kid in the church, an older boy in the church, and it went on for like 2 years. And along with that, and like just growing up in a place where I felt like I was completely alien, and I just didn't feel like I belonged there with them. Like they were blood, they were family, but they seemed like strangers to me, and everybody in my world seemed like a stranger to me. And then as a Jehovah's Witness, we're not allowed to do any extracurricular activities for school. So I had physical abuse from my parents as well, but I had no real way to process these things as a kid, because couldn't really talk about it. There wasn't a whole lot of love in my family, or at least shown or expressed at all. And it was pretty hard to process these things. So as a child, I pretty much blocked the sexual abuse out, and I actually forgot about it for a long time. I think it's because I had no positive outlet to really work through it. Not sure if a child can even work through something like that. So I ended up starting drugs at like an early age. I started smoking weed about the age of 11, and I was doing like all sorts of stuff. I did coke by the age of 13, acid by 14, ecstasy by like 14. I was just trying to escape from a world that I basically was foreign to me, was completely foreign to me.
In your spirit, you knew that you didn't resonate with it.
Yeah. So later on in life, I ended up getting into harder drugs, and I ended up getting addicted to heroin, and it kind of sent me down a spiral of just self-destruction. And I ended up, in and out of jail many times. I ended up in prison. I got extradited to Arizona, went to prison there. I've been all over the place. And I really had no direction, no real will to live or do anything with my life because I was just hopeless in my mind. I was just lost.
Sounds like you were very alone. Did you not have anybody that you could confide in or consult or talk to about your feelings or what you'd been through?
Not really, but I mean, when you're learning how to escape at the age of 10, 11, I don't think you're really trying to reach out to people. I didn't see anyone there to comfort me, so I went and looked for something to drown all that stuff out. And the weird thing is about the sexual abuse is I didn't even remember it until I was like 20 years old. No. I was maybe like 20, 25 or 26 when I actually finally started to remember it. And I had just gotten out of prison and I went to rehab because I was back on heroin again right afterwards. And my parole officer just basically gave me a decision. Hey, you can go back to prison or you can go to rehab. And I went to rehab. So, and actually there is where I first started my healing work, my healing journey. I had some real amazing counselors in rehab. And at that point, my life was just such a big shit sandwich. And I was tired of taking a big bite out of that shit sandwich. It was just so bad that I was like, I just put my hands up in there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do anything you guys suggest me to do. So I started telling him about things that happened in my childhood, and he wanted me to talk to a psychiatrist about it. So they set me up with a psychiatrist, which was real amazing because I didn't have to pay for none of it.
Yeah.
So they set me up with her, and I asked her. I told her my story, and I asked her like, is that common for like, someone to block something like that out? And she said, yeah, that's very common because at such a young age, you can't process trauma like that.
Yeah.
She said, usually when traumatic things happen to a child, they forget about it until later on when they're ready to process it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what happened to me because just one day I started having these like nightmares about it and I would almost like have daydreams about it. And I could actually like remember smells of what was in the room when the sexual abuse was happening. I remember this distinct smell, and every once in a while I smell that smell. And it's very unsettling to me.
I'm sure.
But that's where I started my healing. My counselors also, they suggested to me, they're like, you've been in group with all these people. These guys are basically your brothers and sisters in there. He's like, why don't you tell them your story? And that was the hardest thing I ever did. It really was. But you want to know what? That was the most healing. No, not the most healing. Sorry, because this last weekend was. But that was an amazing amount of healing I did, and I did it. Honestly, I did that part without a whole lot of anything. And all I had to do was go into a group and speak up. And once I did, it was like a domino effect. It was like these people I was around for like a month or two started coming out and telling stories that were very similar. Some were way worse than mine. And just seeing, it was just like the ceremony last weekend, just seeing other people being able to get stuff out and talk about it and heal. actually helped me to start healing.
Yeah.
Because there was like maybe 15, 20 people out of like a group of 25 that all had that one thing in common.
Yeah.
You know?
They say we're as sick as our secrets, you know, and as long as you keep a secret, keep that kind of stuff a secret, it keeps you sick, you know, because you're stuffing it and you're living it. And it sounds like you were starting to relive it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, once it came up in my mind, I started talking about it. And my parents, the hard part was my parents didn't believe me when I told them about it. Yeah, that was pretty hard to deal with. Like having the people that are supposed to protect you, people that are supposed to be your blood family, basically telling you you're a liar. You know, that doesn't sit well sometimes. And another thing is, I noticed when I started healing from that, when I would tell people my story, and the reason I'm telling you this part of my story is because you want to know this part of the story. I don't try to usually go back there unless I think it will help that person specifically. But the way I see healing is like, and it just kind of hit me one day. One day I just started talking about something that, you know, happened that was good when I was a kid. And I started remembering other memories. And I'm like, wait, I think I'm healing right now. Because like these things I couldn't remember before. Like I got a big smile on my face about it, you know?
Right on. It's the nice thing about, you know, getting that stuff out. It takes the power. It takes the power out of it when you're able to own it, speak your truth, and not stuff it down like it never happened. You know?
For sure. Another thing my counselor told me, I just want to share this with you because I loved it, Ashley. This is one thing that really touched my heart. They gave me a task one day. They're like, I want you to go out and I want you to get a hug from 10 random strangers. And I went ahead and I did that. But I didn't stop at 10 because it felt so damn good.
Right on.
And you want to know the thing? Nobody turned me down either.
That's
Beautiful.
awesome.
I didn't have one person turn me down.
That's awesome.
It's just not like Chicago, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing when you start standing in your truth and you start standing in your passion and your healing, you find that there's not going to be a lot of roadblocks, you know, and all this time we go through life for years and years and years, not doing things that we really want to do, but we're too afraid to approach life itself. And then we find, what was I so afraid of? What was I so worried about? Because the door's just open for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So that's about it on my childhood, you know. There were good times and I remember them. But that's about it for that. You know, it was just real hard as Joe was witness. We were pretty much segregated from everybody. It's like anytime anybody had a birthday party at school, I had to stay home. You know, we don't celebrate holidays, birthdays, none of that stuff. So, you know, I had to stay home for any of that when they had that at school.
Wow.
So what was it like this last weekend coming over and having Thanksgiving with your church family?
It was so my whole life I've really hated the holidays. I really have, and that's because I've always been, you know, like picture me just looking creepy standing outside your window. That's what I was outside looking. And you know, I'd always see these like movies about, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. And, you know, it always seems so magical in there. And it's like, but why is it crap for me? And all year this year I've been praying, and I didn't want to be alone for the holidays anymore. And this year my prayers were answered, because I went over to Sarah's house for Thanksgiving, and it was more magical than I would see in the movies that I was hating on. And they really opened up their house to me, and it was just so special to me. And I don't know if anybody could understand that. It was the first time in my life that I felt like I belonged to part of a family.
Well, you are a part of a family, and we love you so much, honey. We're so grateful to have you. You're such
So
a blessing to us.
For all of you.
I'm so thankful you came over, and you truly have come into yourself. You have grown so very much, and you deserve to have that tribe and that family and a safe space for you to share your emotions and your love with other humans. Like, I'm so blessed to call you my brother and a part of this tribe and this church. Thank you for making our Thanksgiving special, because you really did. You made me tear up a little bit, God damn it. I love you.
I don't think these are the last tears coming out. I feel left out, though. I don't have a dog.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Well, we got 3 of them here. You want one?
I'm good, thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about the first ayahuasca journey that you experienced? Like, how did you feel? Were you expecting anything? And what kind of healing came upon that journey?
I'm going to start with what led up to the first ayahuasca experience. Thank you. Now I have a dog. So, right before my first ayahuasca experience, it was at the end of June. I was having, was I having car trouble? Didn't I have car trouble before that? This was my third ceremony I was attempting to go to, and I had car trouble on this one. And I was determined to go, and I had my buddy drop me off and everything. But a couple of days before that, I went up in the mountains because I wanted to get my my mind right, in the right place for this journey out, this unknown journey I was about to embark on. And I went up to the Rocky Mountain National Park, and just like the synchronicities of stuff I see in my outside world is just, it's so weird. It's like whatever music comes on at that certain point in time in my life, it's like Spirit is speaking to me through these songs. And it's like all the music I listen to. And it's weird because my taste will change and I'll move on to something else. And like for that timing, whatever I'm going through, it's like it's playing my life out. But
it's amazing the different ways that Spirit chooses to speak to us. So Spirit knows that you really connect through music.
Yeah.
So that's how Spirit meets you right where you are.
And my birthday is 5/28, which is the solar plexus chakra numbers. And I see those numbers everywhere when I'm here. And the weird thing is, in the past, when I've tried to leave Colorado, something has always happened to try and get my attention. I even one time got arrested leaving the state. Got arrested in Miami.
Yeah. It's a crime. It's a crime.
Apparently it's a crime to leave. But I started seeing like, hey, maybe I'm supposed to be here, because for the longest time, last 7 years, I've been wandering around. I've been in Alaska. I've been in North Dakota. I went on a like 20 some state like road trip. I was just traveling and just doing whatever, I started seeing signs. Alaska. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go to Alaska. All right, let's go to Alaska. All right, go over here. I'll go over here. All right. I realized I really didn't really need to go anywhere. I should have just stayed where I was. But I think that was just part of the journey. I had to just wander a little bit
Yeah.
and feel lost, like the prodigal son. But oh, this was about the ayahuasca journey.
So yeah, for those
So far
listening who've never done ayahuasca, who've never had the blessing of experiencing Mama Aya before, what can you tell us about your ceremony, your first ceremony?
Well, can I finish my little thing?
Yes.
Because I remember what I was getting to there. Okay. Just the weird things that happened before my first ceremony. Like a month before my first ceremony, I was showing some interest in this secret society. They do magic. They study ancient hermetics, and I had applied as a neophyte, and a couple days before the ayahuasca ceremony, I got an acceptance letter from them. Okay. Also, a week earlier, I ate some mushrooms and I turned into a 600-foot tall building. And I was towering over Denver, and I was looking in every direction. I wanted to look away from everything. Like everything just disgusted me. So when I received that initiation, in the initiation, they wanted me to do a meditation. And the meditation they gave me, when I read it, it was exactly like my mushroom trip a week prior. So I thought to myself, I'm like, I think I was already initiated, and that's really weird how that happened. So I just have a lot of synchronicities with what's going on in my outer world. I see a lot of it. It's everywhere. It's in nature. It's on my phone. It's on YouTube. It's on the clock. Everywhere.
Those just mean that you're on the right path, all those synchronicities. I mean, how beautiful is that? I just always remember that. Chris told me that, when there's so many synchronicities popping up in your life, it's truly that you're just on the right path. So that's beautiful.
And it's really interesting too, especially right before you're going to go in the medicine, not right before, but once you make that commitment with Mama Aya to go into the medicine, she already starts working with you before you ever take that medicine. She'll already start communicating with you and stirring things up within you. So it sounds like there was a lot of, help from the universe with Mama Aya in really bringing your attention to certain things and stirring things up for you so that, you'd be ready for when you go into the medicine and you be working on your intent and knowing the things that are stirred up within you that you may want to address in ceremony. So
you wanted to know about my first ayahuasca experience, and honestly, my first one, for the most part, the first night really was very ayahuasca, or Mother Ayahuasca, kind of eased me into the medicine the first night. And
yeah, I was going to say, what was it like as soon as you put that first cup down the back of your throat?
Well, I mean, it tastes terrible, and we all know that. But the first night really, honestly, wasn't that eventful. It was really the second night. The first night, I only did, I think, 1 cup. The second night, I did 3 cups. And 3 cups like completely transformed the ceremonial space into this very Hinduish looking temple type thing. And it actually that day, at that time, when it was coming on, I felt this warm feeling taking over my body, coming from my feet up and going. And when it got to my stomach, I started to freak out a little bit when I started getting that feeling. And it was just coming up like something was overtaking my entire body. And so I ran outside. And Morgan chased me out there. But Morgan followed me out there, and I'm just puking in my bucket and staring around in the sky, and there's all these, swirling multicolored strings everywhere, and I was just like, holy crap, everything is connected.
Yeah.
And I kept looking into my puke bucket, and I look over at Morgan, and I'm like, I know we're not supposed to talk, but my puke looks really cool right now. Purples and greens swirling around in there. But I think it really set me up for more healing. I don't think. Maybe Mother Aya thinks I don't need to be thrown into it deep. Maybe she feels sorry for me. I don't know. But every time it's like a very motherly energy. And I learned from that the first weekend that once you surrender, it's easy. Because I only fought it for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And once I surrendered, it was just the most beautiful experience ever. Awesome. And everyone in there, I don't know, I just felt like the love in there, like it was just oozing down and dripping down the walls or something,
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a beautiful experience.
And that's such a classic truth that once you surrender, it's so beautiful. I mean, she can take you to some hard places, but it's not difficult in the sense that you're resisting it, and then you build up all this anxiety and get scared, and you start getting into a really funky place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part sometimes is
I've really gotten into those bad places when I've done stuff alone.
Yeah, out of ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I opened my third eye, I did that when I was alone. And wow. That's all I have to say about that one.
Yeah, it's always best to do all your
I hear them ask, how do you know if you've opened your third eye? You're gonna know.
Yeah.
There's no mistaking this. I pissed myself. So you're gonna know.
Yeah. There you go.
I had no control. You're gonna know.
Yeah.
Did you become a waterfall? Yeah, you're gonna know.
Is that the night that the cops got you and
oh yeah,
took care of you?
An amazingly weird night. Yeah. Why, you want to hear about that one?
Sure.
Because
Go ahead and share.
It was probably the most scary and most amazing thing I've ever went through. One of them. Well, yeah, it was really scary. So I was down on the Platte River, and I had eaten some acid, and I had recently learned how powerful it was to set an intention before you go on a journey like that. Someone had put the thought in my mind, and the time before that I ate acid, I asked a question and it was answered. I asked how this, basically how the universe works. And then I started seeing the same book everywhere, and I started, and this is what got me into hermetics. I started seeing the Kybalion, which I had seen many, many times before. And it's one of those books that you might not completely understand, but it's one of those books that you'll understand once you see it out in the world, or you go through that experience. You're like, oh, that's what that meant. It's one of those aha moments,
Mm-hmm.
That's what that meant. So I don't even recall the intention I set the night. Oh, I said, the intention I set the night I opened my third eye. I said, I want to know how I create my own reality. And boy, did it show me in some of the most beautiful and scary ways. So I set that intention and I went and I started meditating and I was waiting for it to kick in. And all of a sudden, I just started vibrating like, and I felt like I was vibrating with the earth. And it was like, it was almost like when you hit like a bell or something, it just keeps ringing. That's how I felt. And then all of a sudden I had this like weird popping feeling in my head. And next thing I know, everything that traumatic and bad that happened in my life just kind of started flooding through my mind. No, actually, first, before, sorry, I missed a part. I had the popping in the head. I had a full body orgasm, which was new to me at that moment. And it felt so good. And I had no control over anything that I peed myself. And then I had all those pictures just flowing through my mind. Just everything like traumatic and bad that had happened to me. And I started crying. And then I became my tears. And I saw my tears from every single angle that you could possibly think of. And all those pictures were just flooding through, just one after another, every angle. Imagine you're looking at like 100 pictures at once and they're just. So then there's a waterfall right by me as well. I became my tears. And then I like shot into the waterfall and I became the waterfall. And I saw every single drop of water from every single angle. I guess that's what you get when you ask how do you create your own reality. It showed me every angle. And then from all those feelings, the emotions I had from crying and everything, all that flooding through me, I don't know if I did this or not, but a storm started in my 3D reality, and I became the storm. And then I spent the rest of the night running from that same storm that I became.
Wow.
Which shows another sign of how I create my own reality.
You run away from yourself.
Yeah. I created the storm and then I ran away. I created the problem and then I ran from the problem.
The only thing about that is wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah, here I am. So, and then I was going down the path. Maybe I was being a little loud, but I was having a just profound experience, and the cops came up. And they were like, "Hey, we got a complaint that someone's down here yelling or something." I can't state whether that was me or not. But they had their lights going, and I was just deep in it, and I told them, "You guys have to turn those lights off." And they like right in the eyes, they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I am tripping hard right now." So they called the ambulance and they put me in the back of the ambulance, and they come up after a couple minutes and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Endicott, you got a warrant, but our sergeant went ahead. He took care of that for you." And I was just like, "What? Like, where am I?"
That's too cool. What was the warrant for?
What's that?
What was the warrant for?
Oh, loitering. But damn, you gonna put me on blast like that? Oh, just kidding. But then they brought me to the hospital, And they were all super cool to me. I just remember the cops and the EMTs and doctors all circled around me on the bed, and they were like, "Do you know where you're at?" And I was like, the psych ward, and they're like, "No, you're good." And I'm like, "Oh man." So then they just were real cool to me. They're like filling up my water with like ice, and I was talking to them, and all of a sudden I realized they had turned the TV on and put on Rick and Morty, and I'm like, these guys know what's up. And then about 7 a.m, they're like, "Hey, you can go now. You can leave. You're good." Like, all right, thank you. So that was that. Oh no, because I was still in it for like 2 days.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
So the
How
next
much,
morning,
how much acid did you take?
I only ate 3 hits, I think.
Only.
But this stuff is weird. Where I found it, the people were talking about, they did sacred geometry with it. They blessed it, all sorts of stuff. I'm not joking. I got it on the dark web, and they tell you all about like the stuff that they have, you know. And this acid was not like any acid I have ever had in my entire life. I only eaten acid maybe 4 or 5 times, but still, it was nowhere close to anything I've ever had. No. So the next morning, I don't know if I was seeing this or not, because I was still hallucinating the next day. Or like 2 days after that, I was hallucinating. And I ended up meeting this demon looking thing, and it was telling me it was a demon. And he kept telling me all the bad stuff about myself.
Mm.
And he kept trying, and I just sat there, and I'm just like looking at him, listening to all these bad things he's saying about who I am and stuff like that. And I'm just like, he wants me to judge him. I'm not going to judge him. I'm going to love him.
Right
I'm
on.
Because you know what? If he is a demon, you can't beat a demon at their games. You know, you can't kill out hate with hate. Love is the only thing that's going to take care of that one.
That's right, son.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
can't torment a demon, let's put it that way. Because they're going to win. That's their game.
So what about your second ayahuasca experience?
My second one. My second ayahuasca experience was it was pretty mild as well. And like I said, like most of my ayahuasca experiences have all ended up the same way. It's just like I have this weird feeling like Mother Aya like puts me in a cocoon and just gives me a big hug and just loves the hell out of me. I haven't had anything bad happen during one of those experiences. I always end up going to the same space, and it's usually just like a Hindu-looking temple. I don't know. You ever seen those old like Hindu paintings or whatever where they kind of look porcelain in them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everything looks like that, basically. Yeah.
So how are you integrating your experiences? How are you using these experiences in your integration to transform your life? How is your life beginning to take on transformation?
Well, I'm starting to get rid of a lot of the defeating self-talk that I had there for a little while. You know, at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I really was conscious of how much we are programmed and not the programmer. So I kind of went ahead and did my own programming. I basically brainwashed myself. If anybody's going to brainwash me, it's going to be me. All right.
There you
Right
go.
Right
So I
on.
brainwashed myself for like a loving, in a loving space, you know, instead of being so hateful and negative all the time. And recently I had an experience that I just fought tooth and nail. I went to another country to meet a woman that has been a huge part of my journey. And my guides have guided us together. And even I went over to Greece to go meet her, and she really didn't seem like she wanted to meet me. And it really broke me apart in many, many pieces. So if you were going to ask about my third ayahuasca ceremony, my third one was not too eventful because I had my heart very closed off. I had literally come 5 days fresh from just getting my heart broken. I just had to drive a bunch. I was just not in the right place to be there, and I was just really closed off to everybody that was there, and I wasn't trying to be that way. I even did attempt to talk to some people and did make some connections there, but I was very, very closed off. And come here, pup. And I think that more just worked against myself. I mean, when you go into a ceremony, you kind of you need to be relaxed. You need to kind of be open to anything that may come, whether it is scary or not, you know?
Absolutely.
So how was this last ceremony?
Oh my God. So the first night went about the same with the ayahuasca. You know, it works. Different medicines work better with certain people. I think maybe I've already healed the things that ayahuasca is been showing me, because it's really just been a kind, loving, motherly energy to me. And sometimes I look around and I see people just going through it, screaming, yelling, and I purge once and I'm done, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm just
Right
in
on.
it, enjoying it, just free. That's what Mother Ayahuasca has taught me. It has taught me how to let my inner child out and play.
Yeah.
Because I noticed during the ceremonies, I started doing things that I did when I was a kid. Like I would sit upside down with my legs on the wall and stuff like that. That's stuff I did when I was a kid, you know. I'd sit on the couch with my legs up, you know, upside down watching TV or whatever. Okay, and then we got to the second night, and the shaman Chris, he was like, "I think we need to change it up. Last night was a little bit
Solemn, I
wasn't
think.
wasn't a whole lot of energy to it." So he brought mushrooms in the mix, and we also did some cacao too. But I feel like those two things together are the right medicine to get your heart blown wide open. If that's what you need, if you're out of your heart space, I feel like those two things together combined are just so beautiful together. So beautiful. Because I just have, you know, I've been on this journey for 5-6 years now, and I hear about these people having profound experiences. And yes, my third eye opening was profound, but that was a year and a half ago, and it's kind of faded since then. And then this, whoa. So he said we were going to hit the stratosphere, and I'm not sure where I went. I'm not sure if that was the stratosphere or not, but I went to outer space. I was in a space station that was all glass. It was like a circular
You went
space.
beyond the stratosphere, honey. The stratosphere is just like right here. You went way beyond the stratosphere.
So it was this glass space station, and there were other children there. And it was like circular kind of, and there was like a middle part where we were all like, we could look down at Earth. And every single person in there in the ceremony was up there with me as their child self, and we were playing and having fun together, and we were also commanding everything from the ceremony from up there.
Right on.
And then so I had these little marionette puppets too, and I had them sitting behind me. So I kept going back and forth between these two places. Like I would come back to the ceremonial space and then go back up there. And every time I would come back down, you know how, like I said, we up there, we were calling the shots. We were the puppet masters. So when I would come back down, I looked at the puppets and I was like, who is running the show here? I'm like, why did I bring these things? I think they're bringing some bad energy on over here. But actually, it was an amazing experience. So
Too
I'm
cool.
glad the puppets were there.
I know. You had so much fun with those. Lots of laughs.
But and then you know, that went on for a while, and then right about like when everything was about ready to end for the night, and I'm still way deep into it, I saw a flash of just blinding white light, and then I saw like a real fast flash of like the face of Jesus.
Yeah.
And at that moment that I saw Jesus' face, I looked over at my friend Joe. He doesn't remember saying this, but I remember him saying it clear as day. He said to me, "I'm glad it's you. I trust you." And I just like looked forward and was just like, my mind was just blown, and I just started weeping. And at that point, I felt like whatever energy, that Christ energy, whatever it was that I connected to, I felt like that's what really started healing me, because it made me just start weeping uncontrollably. And then like everything was touching me, like everybody's music, how everybody was coming together to, you know, help others share their art and their music and stuff like that. And it just, it touched my heart so much, you know. I felt a little bit bad because there were times where I felt like I was losing my mind because I was laughing so much. I was like the Mad Hatter, just losing it. But I actually, like, when I got into that place of just laughing, I didn't want to leave. It had been so long that I'd been genuinely happy about anything. And that's because I closed my heart off. And it was just amazing. There was like a point where there was like an hour in the ceremony where people were coming together. They were dancing. It looked like it was choreographed moves, like it was from a movie. There was people playing music together. Even my moans went along with the music, because I just had, I was in a place where remember how I told you I had that full body orgasm?
Yeah.
I was in a place where that was like extending out, and it extended out for like a day and a half. Like I just had these times where I'd be like, it was like my pleasure centers were just firing off one after another, like just rockets exploding and just
Right on.
and all I did was just lay there laughing and like, and there were points where people were sharing their art, and I was laughing so hard, I had my fist up to my mouth and I was punching my fist just so I wouldn't laugh, because I was trying to respect them.
You were pretty fun to sit next to during ceremony.
I was out there.
Yeah, you were. That's what you came for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like losing it kind of is where I found myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's weird, like, you know how I said spirit is our inner child. And I say like, some music speaks to me. Well, there's this band Tool I listen to, and one of their new songs that they're talking about, one of the lyrics is "Wake up, child," and in the background he's singing spirit. He's whispering spirit. You see how my music talks to me? Because where did I go when I went in that journey? Who was spirit? My inner child. I feel like that's
Beautiful.
That's who's watching over us. And Mama, she's been telling me for months, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. And I didn't listen to her. She told me I'm perfect,
Yes,
beautiful,
you are.
the way I am. I don't have to do anything. And once I made that journey, I put the puzzle pieces together and I'm like, wait, they're calling the shots. All I got to do is just move. Get out the way.
get out of your own way.
Yeah. That's all I had to do. I didn't have to do nothing. And you were right. You were right. Completely right.
Well, I'm so proud of you for all the work that you've done. You have just truly opened up so much. Go ahead and share what Andy tells you about your ceremonies and then what happened this time.
What Andy tells me?
About the crying. It's a big step.
On the other, any of my other ceremonies, I never cry, and I always see people crying, like just going through it, screaming, whatever. It's very calming to me. Like once I surrender, it's over. I'm floating down a river, basically. That's how it feels for me. But yeah, it was so amazing. Like once I started weeping, Mama came over here and I held her hand and I just kept crying and she was singing to me and I felt like her songs were just healing me. It was beautiful. And then I started noticing other people were crying around in the room. And I started going over and I felt like just so much compassion for everyone in that room. And I went up and I was just comforting other people. And we were all just doing some deep healing together, just comforting each other. And it was, I told Joe that was the most memorable night of my life.
Beautiful.
And what was it you said to tell Andy? Oh, Andy's going to be so happy I'm crying.
Yeah. But then I thought about it and I'm like, that sounds bad.
No.
I'm happy I'm crying.
No, because you just let your heart be blown wide open.
Absolutely.
I did, yeah.
You allowed yourself to feel.
And I was so closed off for those 2 months. And the worst part about it is I don't like asking for help from anyone. And I was just trying to do it alone. And on top of it, just imagine if you have a telepathic communication with someone and spirit brings someone into your life and they keep throwing signs at you about that person. And then after you go and get your heart broken, they're like, all right, I'm going to throw you like 3 times more signs about them. And it drove me nuts. It drove me crazy, but it was supposed to. It was supposed to make me lose my mind so I could find myself. It was supposed to make me break my heart so wide open that I could be blasted through it. And honestly, like I've come to a point where I'm even, I always said when I came back from Greece, like that's part of my journey. I know I had to go there for a reason. I don't regret it. I look like a fool, but I don't regret it.
You did not look like a fool. So much mad respect for you to follow your heart.
Heck yeah. Absolutely.
But But just imagine getting flooded with signs about something you just got your heart broken on. Like, stop telling me about this girl. I don't want to hear about her.
You need to go through that though. You know what I mean? Sort out those emotions and figure out where your heart is at and how you need to heal. So how do you feel now after it's been a couple days after ceremony? How are you feeling?
I feel amazing. I haven't really been able to do a whole lot this week. I've just had my mind completely blown, honestly. I'm still processing stuff right now.
Yeah.
I saw a peacock at one point in it. It was a real beautiful peacock. Don't know what that means.
You need to look up the symbolism for peacock.
Yeah.
But it really has, that ceremony really, when I got into my heart space, I noticed that it put me in such a place of just complete gratitude for everything in my life. There was actually one point in the ceremony, I forgot to share this, where I was looking at faces of things. Like, there were plants and they had faces and stuff like that. And I was cursing my world. I was cursing things in my world, and I was watching my world die because of it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I've been killing everything in my world. It was a real eye opener, and it really put me into a place of just complete gratitude. And it really got me close to a lot of people. And you wanted to hear about the prodigal son. I feel like the prodigal son is a story, not just over one lifetime, but many lifetimes. And it's a story of us. Because who's going to stray that far away from their family and not go find work if you become homeless? You know, if you can just go to the next country over, the next state over, and hey, Dad, give me a job. You know, it more seems like something over many lifetimes. Because after that last ceremony, I feel like I was initiated into like a soul family or something. It was very weird.
Yeah.
It was like, this is your family, and this is your long lost family, the one you haven't seen in thousands of years.
You are home, son.
And you know where I found y'all? I found y'all in my home.
Right on.
Yes, sir.
My home.
Beautiful.
I didn't need to go anywhere because my home is right here where I'm at.
I'm just so proud of you. I know I keep saying it, but you, after the ceremony, something has changed in you, and I see it just radiating off of you. I'm beyond proud of you. I know I keep saying it, but holy cow, you are a beautiful spirit.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You got in touch with your inner joy. You know, joy is, everybody thinks joy is something that we have to attain, you know, that we have to search outside of ourselves for. Our joy bubbles up from within because of who we are and the work that we've done to be the people that we are.
Well, what are you trying to attain? I thought you don't have to do shit, and I don't have to do shit, and she don't have to do shit.
Exactly. You don't have to attain it. It's something that's already there.
Yeah.
So keep coming to integration.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that that's probably one thing that would have helped me out. But you want to know what? I was supposed to do that. I was supposed to try and do it by myself. Because I don't think I would, if I would have had help along the way, I don't think I would have had such a profound experience like that. Even in the Kaibalion, they talk about the universe as a pendulum, or like things in your life. If things swing one way, they will swing the other way, equal distance. And I feel like that's what happened, because I had my heart chakra opened once before. It was an amazing feeling, but not quite like the other night. So I had it opened and then it closed. So then I had to have my heart really broken, just torn apart. and by someone I've just never had a connection with like that with anyone. I've never had a telepathic connection with anybody, and it's just it was hard for me to let that go. So,
It was a catalyst for something super important in your life. A lot of times we think, because people come into our lives that they're supposed to stay, and we're supposed to build things around them, build our life around them. And sometimes it's just for a season and just for a moment, just to be a catalyst or a teacher of some sort. Lesson. And not saying she's not ever coming back. I'm just saying, not trying to make something happen, just allowing it to be what it is for what it is.
yeah. Well, you got any more questions?
No, I think we're good. Do you have anything else that you want to tell us?
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love
And I love you.
We love you so much, sweetheart.
Yes, thank you
Thank you.
for being a part of this community and just sharing your love. It's very important for people to see what kind of healing you've done. I can see it on the outside already, but I really appreciate you coming in and sharing everything that's brought you to this moment that you're feeling so blissful in. It's a lot of work, and you have truly just done it. Put yourself in the fire, and here you are. So thank you.
It's pretty hard going back to work after that experience. It really,
Yeah.
like 6 days. And yeah, it didn't even feel good going back to work either, but I guess I have to do it.
The necessary.
I don't have to do anything. I gotta do nothing.
We love you so much, sweetheart, and we're so grateful to you. And thank you so much for agreeing to be our very first interview. And
you.
we'll see you tomorrow for integration.
I just hope this helps somebody get to the medicine. It's not gonna. I mean, what can it hurt? Let's put it that way. Oh, you might free yourself. Oh, who knows? All I know is I'm very grateful. After that ceremony, I didn't even go to sleep. I spent most morning just being grateful for things.
Yeah. How it goes.
You ever seen somebody on mushrooms just walk around being grateful for everything? Like,
I sure did the last ceremony.
usually it's like, whoa, there's a squirrel, or is that a Wolverine?
Yeah. All right, sweetheart. Well, thank you so very much for doing this for us in this church. And I know I'll have you back on. So thank you, brother. And we'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.